The first 45 minutes of Echo are exposition, but unlike most game narratives, Echo's is not entirely insufferable. Because the dialogue is so clear about En's purpose for entering the palace, and the game keeps you busy in other ways while you listen to this dialogue, experiencing the narrative isn't nearly as bad as reading books in Skyrim, especially since the two main characters vibrantly disagree with each other every 5 minutes. The tutorial is so long, in-depth, and lore-heavy because the game becomes difficult quickly. You need to move a lot during the first chapter, following UI cues like vault opportunities and moving toward objectives, so the action literally can't start until you're an expert at navigation. The UI in this game is great because Echo is one of those games wherein the developers have created a minimal UI and they've placed most of it on the main character, so it's an integral part of gameplay instead of a distraction. When the game has branded the movement mechanics into your brain, it moves on to enemies. The dialogue starts going off about what they are, but at this point everything starts to pick up. The game throws some weak, slow enemies your way in order to teach you how the gun works, and then it gives you some actual puzzles. The selling point of Echo is, as you complete these puzzles, the enemies learn from you, and the player's influence on the enemies isn't subtle either. This is particularly because one can reduce potential enemy behaviors to the use of both distinct puzzle objects and certain moves. Echoes, the enemies, behave like any other enemy in a stealth game before you influence them. They hit hard if they spot you, they follow rounds, they have alert, search, and calm states. Most of them converge on En's position if one of them sees her. The most effective way to kill them is to choke them out silently. A hive mind governs and changes the enemy behavior by observing specific actions En takes, but it only changes the enemy behavior during certain intervals. The hive mind resets every time En is disruptive enough. There's no temporal interval. If En starts killing echoes and there are, say, 3 dead echoes, then the hive mind triggers a reset during which time the level is dark and the hive mind stops taking new actions of En's into account. The enemies also respawn after this reset, so if En shoots her gun before the reset, the echoes will use their guns after the reset too. If after this reset En stops using her gun, then the echoes will not use their guns after the following reset either. This applies to the use of lifts or doors as well. If there's water in the level, En has to step in the water for the echoes to step in the water. You have to decide constantly what advantages to lend to the echoes. The game will not move forward unless you make some sort of sacrifice. You have to think more than react. You can't progressively kill enemies to make an area safer, so you always need to be vigilant. Among other things, this balances the game well. If you do something helpful to yourself, then you do something helpful to the echoes. As another example, there's a white orb with which En can smash the echoes on the head, and they'll be able to one-shot her the same way after a reset. You can't play any way you want. You have to figure out the right thing to do. Sometimes you have to shoot the gun, but most of the time you don't. If echoes kill you over and over again, the game offers many distinct solutions to try. 3 puzzle templates, none of which necessitate killing, keep the gameplay fresh. Point A to point B, find 1 to 2 keys, and collect the blue orbs. All require different strategies. For example, the second one is less linear than the other 2, in that you have to move through an area and make a return trip. There are simple upgrades scattered throughout each level. All of them increase En's capacity for energy, a resource she uses to jump down large drops and fire her gun. They're certainly helpful, but especially on the harder difficulties, how much energy she has doesn't matter. Echo is not at any point overly complicated. Even when you're at the end, and the game has introduced all major puzzle objects, it's still a simple game that challenges you by giving you choices to judge. Most of sneaking is about basing one's timing on the enemy's rounds, but this activity resonates with puzzle solving, because both types of games involve uncovering a solution. It even sticks out as a stealth game because you can't incapacitate enemies to make an area safe. The game is also dynamic enough such that you can't memorize one solution to each puzzle. Or maybe you can, and I haven't gotten there yet, but it is definitely harder to find the solution. I've played Dishonored 1 7 times because I only had to figure it out the first time. The constant vigilance and the problem solving required to complete the game, in combination with the 3 puzzle templates, keep everything fun until the end. Few games offer a core mechanic that's both novel and well executed. I think the fact that Echo has accomplished that alone makes it a great addition to anyone's library. Echo received lukewarm reviews. If nothing else, it's worth playing primarily because nobody has designed a game wherein not only do enemies learn from you, but you also decide what to teach them for specific time intervals. Minecraft worlds are procedurally generated. The robot dinosaurs in the Horizon series subtly change their behavior based on how guns blazing you are, I guess, but Ultra Ultra has designed a game in such a way that even though it is an artificial intelligence, the behavior changes depending on what you do, and you know the moment your behavior is picked up, because the hive mind will leave an apparition behind you when it catches you doing something. You pick up on the behaviors that are sometimes helpful to the echoes. You pick up on the behaviors that always offer echoes a significant advantage. Not to give too much away, but I want to provide a good example. Sprinting is definitely one of the behaviors you don't want to give. When an echo sees you and can't run, then that's much better. You don't want to be running around all the time. Or maybe if a bunch of echoes are behind doors, then don't open a door. There are these little details you need to be thinking about at all times. Echo is an uncommon example of quality over quantity in modern gaming. Collectibles and an unlockable difficulty give the 8-hour campaign some replayability. It's on Steam for $25, and I hope you consider trying it out.